The final meeting. The grand chamber of the Galactic Council was silent. Millions of screens were live across the galaxy, broadcasting the final round of peace talks. Every seat in the council was filled. Leaders, diplomats, military minds, all gathered to hear what the humans would decide. Humanity's ambassador, a tall, calm man named Aaron Hale, stood at the center. His eyes scanned the faces of over 50 alien species. Some looked bored, some annoyed, and some curious, but none were truly afraid. Aaron had offered peace one last time. He had spoken calmly, offering trade, safety, and equal respect. In return, he asked for one thing: stop the attacks on human colonies near the edge of space. Just stop. The council laughed. Not all, but enough to make the insult clear. A few council members smirked openly. One even whispered, "Weak species always beg." Aaron looked at them, not angry, not surprised. He simply nodded, stepped back, and said one word into the microphone. Understood. That was it. No threats, no promises, no fire or fury, just that single word, spoken softly. Then he turned and walked out of the chamber. The humans who had come with him followed in perfect silence. No one stopped them. No one cared, but something felt off. A shiver passed through a few council members, though they couldn't explain why. "Is that it?" one alien leader scoffed. "They walk away because we didn't kneel to them?" Another shrugged. "Let them go, they need us, they won't survive alone." But deep inside the oldest members of the council, those who remembered Earth's early wars, there was a flicker of doubt. They had seen how quickly humanity had risen, from a single planet to dozens of colonies in less than a century, from basic space travel to ships that could hide from scanners, from peace-loving explorers to warriors when pushed too far. Back on Earth, the news reached II. Instantly, Ambassador Aaron's message was short. Talks failed, return protocols initiated. Within hours, human systems locked down. No messages entered, none left. No trade, no diplomacy, no explanations. The galaxy moved on at first. They laughed, gossiped, and debated. Humans are emotional. They'll come back. They have no choice. But then things began to change. Trade ships that used to pass near human space stopped reporting. A mining station went dark, completely silent. A research ship disappeared. Its last signal, a burst of static. Small empires sent scouts to check, but they never came back. At first, the council thought it was pirates, maybe an accident. Then someone found it, floating just beyond human territory. A satellite, old, damaged-looking, but still broadcasting. One message repeated in dozens of languages. We asked nicely. Panic started to ripple through the lower species. Markets crashed, governments whispered. Was this a declaration of war? Was Earth doing this? The council called an emergency meeting. Most members blamed each other, not the humans. But behind closed doors, everyone began upgrading weapons, recalling diplomats and reinforcing border stations. Still they hoped. They hoped it was a bluff. They hoped humanity would come back with an apology. They hoped things would go back to normal, but humans didn't bluff. They prepared, and when they said, understood, they meant the time for talking was over. On a distant moon, in a quiet system, a human child drew a picture of her planet. She looked up at her father, a former soldier, and asked, "Will they stop hurting us now?" The father looked out at the stars, and without turning his head, he replied, "They will try, sweetie." The galaxy didn't know it yet, but by laughing in that chamber, they didn't just reject peace. They opened a door they couldn't close, and Earth had just stepped through it. Ciao, whispers in the void. The first whisper came from a dying ship. It was an old cargo hauler moving through the edge of human space. Its last transmission was scrambled, broken, and full of static. But one word made it through. Black. Then silence. The ship vanished. No wreckage, no beacon, nothing left behind. At first, the Galactic Council didn't panic. Ships go missing, space is dangerous, they told themselves. But then another ship disappeared. Then two more. One of them was a military scout, heavily armed and fast. It vanished without even sending a distress signal. That was when the whispers began. Not from official channels, but from shadow networks, mercenaries, and exiled spies. People who lived on the edge, who saw things before the galaxy believed them. They spoke of black ships, moving like shadows, no lights, no markings, appearing silently and then gone. The stories were always the same. One moment the ship was there, the next it was erased from space. A retired smuggler told a bartender on Drellin Prime, "I saw it, man, a human ship, all black, like space itself. It passed us, didn't fire, didn't even scan us, just passed. And I swear the stars behind it looked different after." The bartender laughed at first, then stopped, because 2 days later, his cousin's transport ship disappeared in the same sector. The council held secret meetings, not public ones, they didn't want panic. But the top generals, admirals, and scientists were beginning to agree on something terrifying. The humans didn't walk away in weakness, they left to prepare. On a hidden research base deep inside the Trivor Belt, scientists reviewed the last clear scan of a black object near the vanishing zone. It looked like a ship, but larger. The energy readings didn't match anything known, not plasma, not ion, not warp. It pulsed with something new, something quiet and cold. The lead scientist whispered to herself, "If this is human, they've changed everything." The council tried to reach Earth. Messages were sent, formal, informal, coded, even emotional pleas. None were returned. Earth systems remained dark, locked behind a shield net so powerful it bent scanner readings. One desperate diplomat sent a cargo drone with gifts, apologies, and a handwritten letter. It returned empty, but one word had been burned into its hull. Too late. Galactic news networks began to twist. Some called it a lie, a trick by human sympathizers. Others shouted warnings saying Earth had built something unstoppable. The fear spread in silence. Leaders didn't speak of it openly, but they started to move fleets near homeworlds. Defense budgets doubled. Old warships were pulled out of mothballs. Systems once mocking Earth now whispered quietly, "Where are the humans now?" On the outer edge of council space, a small mining colony received a visitor. A single black ship appeared in orbit, made no sound, no signal. It simply hovered for 2 hours, then vanished. When asked what it wanted, the colony leader answered with a pale face. "It didn't come to take, it came to remind us." Remind them of what? No one knew. But fear doesn't wait for answers. Across the stars, people started seeing humans differently. Not as weak negotiators or emotional beings, but as something deeper, colder, something ancient wearing a kind face until pushed too far. A child on a council world asked her father, "Dad, are humans monsters now?" The man didn't answer for a long time. Then he said, "No, sweetheart, they're not monsters. They're just done asking nicely." And the galaxy started to understand. Earth didn't leave because it lost. It left because it was done playing by the galaxy's rules, and now it was writing new ones, in silence, in shadows, and in fear. Echoes of Earth. In the dead silence of deep space, something began to speak. It wasn't a voice, not a transmission. It was a signal, older than war, colder than peace, and it came from Earth, not through public channels, not a broadcast, but through ancient comm buoys forgotten by most of the galaxy. They activated one by one, lighting up across the stars. Each relay carried the same short message, a soundless hum, followed by 5 words in every known language. We asked, you refused. No threats, no names. But every leader who read it knew who sent it. Only one race ever offered peace with open hands. And left with closed hearts, humanity had left no ambassadors behind. No traitors, no treaties, no soft words, only silence. And now, echoes. An abandoned science station near the Vale Nebula picked up something strange. Its long-range sensors caught flashes of massive movement near Sector 9. But when they tried to zoom in, the image went black. All they had was a snapshot taken 1 second before the system crashed. A fleet. Not like Council warships. No flags, no patterns, no blinking lights, just pure black forms, silent, sharp, shaped like knives floating through space. One scientist whispered, "They don't look like ships," another added, "They look like decisions." That photo spread fast even though the council tried to hide it, leaked across hidden networks, back channels, and forgotten forums. Some thought it was a fake. Others looked at the energy readings and went pale. One technician zoomed in on a symbol barely visible on the side of the largest ship. It was Earth's flag. But it had changed. The stars were gone, replaced by a single black circle, and inside it, a red line drawn like a wound. The message was clear to those who understood. Humanity had closed the book on diplomacy and opened the one called consequence. A merchant guild tried to re-up. In trade with Earth, they sent a diplomatic drone loaded with supplies, gold, even rare crystals from the core worlds. The drone arrived back a day later, everything untouched, except for a single stone placed inside, a tiny moon rock with a carving that read, "You never listened." A powerful empire known as the Raltec sent a scout ship near human space. They thought humans were bluffing, that they'd get scared and return to the table. The scout never returned, but one of its black boxes drifted back into neutral space. When opened, it played one thing: footage from the ship's bridge, a shadow falling across the stars, a voice like steel whispering, "Observe no further." Then static. The Raltec canceled all missions near Earth's borders that same hour. At the same time, something even more disturbing happened. A communication array orbiting a neutral planet picked up a ghost signal. It was old. At first they thought it was just an echo of past transmissions, but then they heard it, an old Earth song, soft, haunting, a human lullaby from centuries ago, playing on loop. The people of that planet couldn't sleep for days, not because of the song, but because no one could explain how it got there. No human ships had passed through for years. On the other side of the galaxy, a high-ranking general woke up from a nightmare. In it, he saw the Earth rising over a burning world. Not a sun, but Earth, glowing red and watching. He dismissed it until he learned 7 of his patrol ships vanished near the same time. And always the whispers continued. On space stations, in cargo holds, on pirate radios. Earth is watching. Earth hasn't spoken because it's listening. Earth isn't gone. It's just waiting. The Galactic Council tried to spin the story. They blamed black holes, rogue AI, pirate factions, solar storms. But the people knew. The fear had reached them, not through bullets or bombs, but through silence and through the stories, because that's what humans had always done best. They didn't just build, they remembered.
The first flame, it started with a mistake. A patrol station belonging to the Darnak Empire picked up an unknown ship near its border. It had no ID code, no lights, no weapons activated, just a single, silent ship drifting into their zone. The commander on duty was young, proud, and full of arrogance. He had heard stories about human silence, about their black ships, but he didn't believe them. Fire a warning shot, he ordered. The plasma bolt flashed through space and barely missed the mysterious ship. But it didn't stop or slow down, it just turned, smooth and quiet, then hovered. That's when the station's power flickered. For 3 seconds, every screen went black. When they came back, the ship was gone from visual sensors, but something was inside their systems, a whisper, not a voice, not a language, just a sound, like breathing in a vacuum. Then, everything exploded. The station vanished in a silent flash. No escape pods, no distress signal, just gone. The news spread fast. At first, the Darnak leaders denied it, then footage leaked from a nearby listening satellite. The last few seconds showed the ship slowly turning before the blast, and just before the explosion, one word was heard through the audio, not a scream, not a threat, just a whisper, "Understood." The council scrambled. It had happened, the first real flame, the first retaliation. Across the stars, leaders held secret meetings. Some said strike Earth before it gets worse, others begged to open talks again, but Earth didn't answer. Its system stayed dark, its borders remained closed. Then came the second strike. 3 war hubs of the Darnak fleet, heavily guarded, reinforced, and shielded, vanished within 17 minutes. No detected weapons, no fleet seen, no survivors. All that remained were pieces, cut so clean it looked like glass. Now the galaxy understood, this wasn't just a human warning. It was human decision. War had not been declared, because war was too loud for what Earth was doing. One by one, smaller factions pulled their fleets back from human borders. Some erased old records of insults toward Earth, others sent ships loaded with supplies. But Earth never accepted. On the colony world of Velter 9, an old alien teacher gave her students a new lesson. She showed them the message humans once offered: trade, peace, and respect. She looked at her class and said, "We had peace in our hands, and we crushed it." In the shadows of politics, Things became even darker. Some species started blaming each other for Earth's anger, old alliances cracked, minor wars broke out, but humans never moved again, and that silence was worse than any attack, because no one knew when or where Earth would strike next. Some thought the first flame was the beginning of war, others believed it was the end of Earth's patience, but no one could deny this. The galaxy was afraid, truly afraid, even the largest empires, with fleets of 1,000 ships, now ordered no one to approach human space. They told their people Earth was unstable, unpredictable, dangerous, but the people knew the truth. Earth wasn't dangerous because it was angry, Earth was dangerous because it was done talking. In the far corner of the galaxy, a young alien soldier watched the footage of the Darnak station explosion. He asked his commander, "What do we do if the humans come here?" The commander said nothing for a long time, then replied softly, "We don't fight, we listen," because now, even the stars seemed quieter, as if they too feared what Earth might do next. The first flame was not the start of war, it was the end of arrogance, the end of laughing at humanity, and the beginning of something the galaxy had never faced before, a quiet, calculated fury, born from peace denied.
The silence before the roar, nothing moved, not the fleets, not the traders, not the stars. Every system near Earth space was frozen in fear, but not because of weapons, not because of invasions, because of silence, complete, deafening silence. Since the fall of the Darnak station and the erasure of 3 war hubs, no one had heard from Earth. No more ships spotted, no more warnings, no threats, just nothing. And yet that silence screamed louder than any war horn. Planets turned off their long-range sensors, as if hoping that if they didn't look at Earth, Earth wouldn't look back. In the central halls of the Galactic Council, panic had turned to paranoia. Spies accused other spies, alliances shattered under quiet pressure. The word human was now spoken like a curse or a prayer. A captain from the Varn Empire reported something strange near their outer listening posts. They hadn't seen a ship, they hadn't heard a sound, but every crew member on the station woke up at the same exact time, all of them with the same dream, a single human eye watching them through the void. When scanned for psychic manipulation or chemical influence, the reports came back clean, but no one could explain it, and no one wanted to. The Varn closed all routes near Earth after that, no explanation, no announcement, just closed. Meanwhile, smaller empires began making strange moves. One system declared neutrality, another surrendered to no one, just to be safe. A third renamed their capital moon New Terra and built a statue of a human diplomat holding the galaxy in one hand. But Earth said nothing, not a word, not a whisper, not a flicker of light from their systems. And that was what terrified everyone most. The Council tried one last move. They sent an envoy fleet. 15 ships carrying peace symbols, apology messages, and unarmed escorts. The fleet crossed the line into hum, and space then disappeared. 3 days later, all 15 ships returned, intact, untouched, but every data drive wiped clean, every message erased, every crew member asleep, and on each ship's central screen, 5 words were written in white across black. We do not forget. Now even the bravest species backed away. Border stations turned off their defense systems near Earth's zones. Governments gave speeches about peace, then whispered to each other, "What are they waiting for? What is Earth building in there? When will the roar begin?" Because the silence wasn't peace anymore, it was the sound of something charging, the quiet before a storm, the breath before a scream. Some believed Earth was preparing a final strike. Others believed Earth had already won. Without firing a single shot, a merchant ship drifting near the trade corridor found something unexpected, a black pod, unmarked, floating quietly. Inside was a simple box, and in the box, a book, written in every language known to the galaxy. The title said, "You had your chance." No pages followed, just that single sentence, a message that didn't threaten, a message that didn't explain, but a message that shattered hope, because now, no one believed Earth wanted peace anymore. Now they feared Earth didn't want anything at all, and that made them dangerous in a way no one had prepared for. On a quiet moon far from human space, a child looked up at the stars and asked, "Do the humans sleep too?" Her father paused, then said, "No, they wait." And in that silence, the galaxy began to understand something horrible. They hadn't made Earth angry. They had made it cold. And when that coldness moves, when the silence ends, it will not roar like a beast. It will whisper like truth. Collapse of giants. It didn't begin with war. It began with surrender, the Kiroth Dominion, an empire of 10 systems and 2,000 warships collapsed in one night, not because of human weapons, not because of invasion, but because of a message. One of their high admirals had gone silent. He had been stationed at the edge of human space. His last report said everything was quiet. Then, no more words, no more signals, no more life. When the council demanded answers, the Kiroth released the transmission. It was short, a video showing the admiral's ship floating near a strange black structure, something massive, spinning slowly like a dark star. The admiral said only one thing before the screen cut out. "We're not alone here." That was all it took. The Kiroth Senate panicked. Generals refused to deploy, officers resigned without reason, and within hours the empire fell into chaos. But they weren't the only ones. The Veltari Republic, known for its arrogance and strength, tried to prepare. They built new ships, trained soldiers, set traps along their borders. But none of it mattered, because one night every ship in their third fleet powered down at the same time. All systems failed. No enemy contact, no damage, just silence. When power returned, every single warship had a new message burned into their core memory. We offered peace. No one claimed responsibility, but everyone knew the signature, the precision, the silence, the message. This was human. The Veltari surrendered without a fight. Not to Earth, but to fear. On other planets, riots broke out, not against Earth, but against their own leaders. Civilians screamed in the streets. You laughed at them. You thought they were weak. You gave us this. The Galactic Council tried to calm things. They told the people it wasn't war, that humanity had no declared plan. But the people didn't care anymore because Earth didn't need to fight. Earth had already won. Not with bullets, but with belief, not with invasions, but with imagination, because every night when the stars came out, every species asked the same question. Are they out there watching us? And no one had an answer. Even the most powerful warlords now feared the dark. One of them, a legend named Tarkal, once said he would burn Earth to ash. Now he locked himself in a vault. He stopped giving orders. He simply stared at a screen showing Earth's last known position. Not blinking, not speaking, just waiting. The collapse of the giants wasn't loud. It was quiet, like a heartbeat slowing down. A soft fall from power, one that no one could stop. Even the pirates, the smugglers, the lawless fleets of the Outer Rim changed. They stopped raiding. They stopped hunting near Earth's old routes. They whispered stories of black ships seen in the distance, ships that didn't chase, didn't shoot, just hovered, watching. A bounty hunter named Krill returned from a job, pale and shaking. He had never feared death before, but now he feared silence. He claimed he heard Earth's anthem through the walls of his ship. No one believed him, but no one laughed either. The galaxy was broken, not by war, but by a species that had learned to be patient, a species that had begged for peace, offered its hand, and then pulled it back, forever. And still, Earth said nothing. No answers, no speeches, just the occasional sign. A message here, a ghost ship there. Enough to remind the galaxy they hadn't gone. They were still here, just waiting, because Earth knew something the others didn't. It didn't need to roar. It didn't need to strike. All it had to do was watch and wait. And slowly, one by one, the giants fell. The day the stars held their breath, the galaxy froze. Not from war, not from orders, but from something deeper, something older. Fear. It was a normal cycle, just another rotation in the council calendar. But this day felt different. Ships paused mid-journey, messages slowed. Even the stars, it seemed, blinked a little slower. Because today Earth moved. No weapon was fired, no ship appeared, no system exploded. But across every screen and every language, 5 words appeared at once. Words that shattered the last hope of peace. Words that made even the most powerful empires drop to their knees. We will not warn you. That was all. No signature, no name. But everyone knew Earth had spoken. And that silence which had haunted the galaxy for cycles, that cold breath held between stars, was now broken. A single black ship appeared near the center of the galactic map. No lights, no weapons drawn, just floating, then another, then 10 more, then thousands, not in formation, not marching, just present, watching. The council called an emergency session, again, but half the seats were empty. Some leaders had fled, others had collapsed under their own fear, and some were already preparing to surrender. A voice crackled through the council chamber, not loud, not angry, just calm, human. You were offered peace, the voice said. You answered with pride. We left you in silence. Now you will live in it. The signal ended, no follow-up, no list of demands, only presence. That was Earth's power now. It no longer needed to conquer. It didn't need to invade. Its silence had become law. Its memory had become judgment. On a peaceful farming world in the outer systems, an old farmer looked up at the sky. He saw one of the ships floating above the clouds, not attacking, not moving, just there. He dropped to his knees, tears in his eyes, and whispered, "They came back." But Earth had never left. It had simply waited, and now the waiting was over. Galactic schools stopped teaching military history. Instead, they taught about Earth's warning, how peace should never be laughed at, how silence is not weakness, but power. Some species built temples to honor Earth, others banned the mention of it entirely, but none dared to send ships near its territory again, because that was the day the galaxy truly understood. Humanity didn't want control, it didn't want revenge, it didn't even want forgiveness. It wanted to be left alone. And now it was. A child on a moon colony asked her mother, "Will they hurt us?" The mother held her close and said, "No, baby. They'll only hurt us if we ever forget." And so the galaxy remembered. Every system, every world, every race. The humans had walked away, but their silence stayed behind, a reminder carved into time. And on that day, the stars held their breath, not because Earth had returned, but because it no longer needed to.